Hello, Dr. Johnson. Good morning. Hello. Yeah. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah. You are audible. Okay. I'm ready. Okay. Good. Okay. So if you are set, you can start on time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all. ഇന്ന് ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഡേ ആണ്. ഈ ദിനത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഇപ്രകാരം ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം നമുക്ക് കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കുന്നതിൽ വലിയ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. നാഷണൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ പോളിസിയെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് ഏറ്റവും ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ഡോക്ടർ ഗോപകുമാർ സാറ് നമ്മളോട് സംസാരിക്കും ഇനിയുള്ള സമയം. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും സാറിനെ പോലെയുള്ള ഒരു വ്യക്തിത്വത്തെ ഈ ദിവസം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയതിൽ വലിയ സന്തോഷം. നമുക്കറിയാം 2020 തന്നെ കേന്ദ്ര ക്യാബിനറ്റ് ഈ നാഷണൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ പോളിസി അത് പാസ്സാക്കിയതാണ്. ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ രംഗത്ത് വലിയ മാറ്റങ്ങളാണ് ഇതിൻ പ്രകാരം വരാൻ പോകുന്നതെന്ന് നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാം. ഇതിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചൊക്കെ സാർ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും സംസാരിക്കും. സാറിൻ്റെ സാന്നിധ്യത്തിന് ഏറ്റവും സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. ഒപ്പം തന്നെ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിലായിരിക്കുന്ന എല്ലാവരെയും സന്തോഷത്തോടെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് നിർത്തുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്.
Thank you, sir. Respected director, dear colleagues, Gopakumar sir, and dear students, teachers through their hard work and dedication makes this world a better place. So first of all, a very happy Teachers' Day wish to all the teachers who have joined here. As you are aware, every day Teachers' Day is celebrated on September 5th to commemorate the birth anniversary of the former President of India, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, who was an accomplished scholar and academic. The idea behind the Teachers' Day celebration is to acknowledge the dignity of teaching profession and contribution of teachers in nurturing in minds and nation building. Some students, they might have heard this national education policy for the first time, and that may be today also. So the National Education Policy NEP 2020 also advocates for restoring high respect for teachers, and to inspire the best to enter in the teaching profession. And today, we are grateful to have Gopakumar sir as the resource person for today's webinar. Special appreciation to coordinators of Research Cell and IQAC Cell, Dr. Johnson and Dr. Sunil, for organizing today's webinar. I truly believe that this session will be fruitful and productive one. Thank you all.
Hello, am I audible? Okay, okay. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So first of all, let me my camera. There is some issue with my camera, so I could not open my camera. Sorry for that. So before starting, let me wish all of you a very happy Teachers' Day. Now, I'm extremely happy to introduce or to give a brief profile of Professor Dr. G. Gopakumar. Dr. G. Gopakumar served as the second Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Kerala and successfully completed his tenure as an institution builder. He was formerly UGC Emeritus Fellow, ICSSR Senior Fellow, Dean of Social Sciences and Professor and Head, Department of Political Science, Vice Chairman, Credit and Semester System, and Director, V.K. Krishna Menon Center for International Relations, Coordinator of Nehru Studies Center, Survey Research Center, and UGC Special Assistance Program in the University of Kerala. He was also the Director General of the Institute of Parliamentary Affairs, Government of Kerala. He had served as professor in the Kerala University for 16 years and has 45 years of teaching and research experience. He's published 12 books and over 155 research articles and successfully guided 28 PhD scholars. An internationally renowned scholar in political science, he specialized in Indian politics, comparative politics, and international relations besides being a noted psephologist. He also served as the state coordinator of the CSDS election surveys in Kerala during 1996-2009 period. He won several international and national fellowships that include UGC Research Scientist, Indo-French Cultural Exchange Award, International Visitors Leadership Award, USA, Salzburg Award, Fulbright Scholar Award, Shastri Mobility Award, Canada, Shastri Indo-Canadian Awards, University of Calgary and MC Gill University, Visiting Professor, University of Calgary, Canada, Visiting Professor, Claremont Graduate University, USA, Australia-India Council Senior Fellow, Monash University, Melbourne, Visiting Research Fellow, University of the New South Wales, Sydney, and Prince of Songkla University, Thailand. He is a member of several national and international bodies, including Indian National Commission for Cooperation with UNESCO and served as chairperson for NAC peer team visits. He also served in the Executive Council of the Central University of Gujarat. He declined the Fulbright Scholar in Residence Award at Morgan University, USA, to accept the Vice Chancellorship in the Central University of Kerala, which he joined on 7th August 2014. He completed his tenure as Vice Chancellor after 6 years on 6th August 2020 and now settled in Trivandrum. He is currently involved in various academic activities, served in numerous national committees, besides participate in healthy media debates and other socio-cultural meetings. Thank you. Thank you very much. I welcome, sir, Professor Dr. Gopakumar.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. A very good morning to all of you. Manager of the college, Sri Vijay Araikel, Principal of the Lourdesmada College of Science and Technology, Ms. Wilson, Dr. Johnson, dear teachers and dear students. It's a very happy day because we are meeting on the Teachers' Day. That itself gives us significance for a theme like education policy, national education policy 2020, and also considering the prime importance of the sphere of education. Certainly, this day adds much importance. President Radhakrishnan is also considered as philosopher president. He himself was a great teacher at the Madras University, and his first love was philosophy. Nevertheless, he became a great educationist and contributed significantly for the growth of India. So he is aptly called the philosopher president of India. Now, coming to the topic, I would definitely welcome discussion after my presentation. At the beginning, I would say that I had classified my or organized my presentation into 4 sections. I will start with a brief introduction, followed by another brief note on the historical development of education in India during the last 75 years. And then the third area will be the national education policy, which will be exhaustive, and followed by the transformation we expect and regarding how we are going to proceed further, future ahead. So this is how I have organized my presentation today, and I would request all of you to follow this discussion, raise significant questions after my presentation. We can have discussion in Malayalam also, so that students can also participate. At the introduction, I must say that we are a huge country with a great chunk of the population hungry for education. We are going to be number 1 in population in another 1 year or so. We are going to overtake China. As of now, we have 140 crores of people, or 1400 million people, of which 52% are below 26 years. And if you consider up to age 35, 65% of India's population belong to below 35 years and 52% below 26 years. This age-wise classification has been given to highlight the importance of a huge volume of people waiting for educational advancement. Around 2 crores of children are in schools now, and 3.5 crores of youth are in the colleges now. And this trend will continue for many years since we have a young demography. We are the 3rd biggest educational landscape in the world after United States and China. In United States, a huge population of education are students from abroad. But local population is also there. In China also, they attract students from abroad in large numbers. So in both the countries, higher education is also an industry, and it provides employment to many categories and sections of people and industrial units. We come as the third biggest educational landscape, considering our population and considering the young demography. So if we follow United States and China as the third biggest education landscape, and with a growing middle class population in the country, this national education policy has special importance. But the difference with Western countries is that they attract huge number of students from outside their country, both China and US. But whereas in India, we have very few students from abroad. We have few from South Asia and Southeast Asia, but from major countries of the world, we have only nominal representation. So international students population in India is not very high. At the best, it will be 5%. 95% are domestic population. And therefore, the focus of India's education is to empower the students, give them proper education, skill, and development, and enable them to stand on their own feet, improve their growth and development and personality, and indirectly help the nation to grow. So education is a nation building process. And if we properly invest in higher education and education generally, we can certainly grow in a very high manner. As of now, we have 16 million schools, 1,078 universities, and nearly 50,000 colleges. But this number is small because considering the huge population waiting for education, we need more colleges, more schools, more universities, and more training centers. Unlike America and China, whose population is graying or aging, we have a youth population, and therefore we need more educational institutions. We have to do a lot of things, including training the students in such a way that they are employable and they are attracted to industries, either startups or being part of industry, and help in the technological and scientific advancement of the country. This is a great dream that we expect. And if things work very well, we expect so, in another 25 years, we will be the #1 superpower in the world by 2047. Already we are the 5th largest economy in the world, following United States, China, Japan, Germany, and 5th is India. And if you look at the population across the middle class section, China and India has the top biggest middle class population. American middle class population is lesser than India because their population is small. So China and India has a huge middle class population. So if you work very well and organize properly, we can transform this country into one of the leading nations of the world. We have already shown our strength during the last 15 to 20 years. And as data proves that even after COVID, our economic growth is remarkable, with a 19% growth rate in 2021 and 13% growth rate in 2022. So this double-digit growth we have to retain and maintain like China. And if you continue with that advancement, definitely economically, culturally, and socially, we can elevate this nation from its backyard. Now, with this brief introduction, I come to my second section. I wanted to give a context from where India has come up, because the youth population sitting here should realize the challenges we had and how we overcome all these challenges during the last 75 years. Just 75 years ago, August 15, 1947, we had a literacy rate of 16%, 1-6. And our average lifespan of an average Indian was just 38 years. So our health situation was miserable. Our literacy was miserable. We hardly had 25 universities and 5,000 colleges. So our basic foundation was very, very weak. The colonial powers never wanted to ensure quality education to this country. They wanted to create only a small section of the population to get some training in English education. So the colonial powers did not invest anything in education except a small cream that they wanted to develop for their own vested interest. Despite that, the elite sections and the upper class sections were able to get education even during the colonial period. But after getting independence, as Nehru rightly said, education is an agenda which cannot wait. It cannot be postponed. And Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan had highlighted that the happiest man in the world is one who has knowledge with scientific temperament. So scientific knowledge and wisdom are important to ensure happiness for the people, as per Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan, whose birthday we celebrate today. So we had a very tough background. From that situation, today we have moved significantly. An average Indian lives almost double. An average Indian has a lifespan of 69 years. It's almost a double from where we were in 1947. And with 17% literacy, today our literacy rate has touched 80%. But this is highly insufficient, because if you look at secondary education and school education, our rates are not very impressive. Our higher education gross enrollment ratio is only 52% today. I'm sorry, 26.5% today. And our school education gross enrollment ratio is 52%. The national education policy wanted to double it in another 12 to 13 years. By 2035, our higher secondary education level must touch 100%. And higher education, we wanted to achieve 50%, almost a double from where we are now by 2035. So what I wanted to tell you, dear students and teachers, the next 10 to 13 years are going to be very, very crucial. If India fail in the next decade or in the present decade, certainly India will not be able to achieve the goals we had set in. And therefore, we have to consider education as a very serious agenda for nation building. Today, we have 1,078 universities I mentioned earlier. And these universities are classified into the following types: state universities, deemed universities, private universities, central universities. Besides these four categories, state universities, deemed universities, private universities, and central universities, there are few, around 20 or 25 institutions of national importance, where you can consider IITs, IIMs, Indian Institute of Science, then ISA, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research. You can also bring them under national institutions of importance. So they are almost equivalent to their degree granting institutions. So they are like a central university. So these are the 5 categories of education, higher education institutions we do have now. Education under the Indian Constitution is a list under the concurrent list, which means that both the central government and state governments have equal responsibilities in ensuring educational advancement of its people. Earlier it was under state list. In 1976, it was shifted to concurrent list, and therefore state and central governments have equal responsibilities. Today, with our economy growing, and you must have read that our GST tax collection is growing and overflowing, and now money will not be a problem for future as far as education is concerned. Earlier, during the last 75 years, you will be surprised to know that we had invested only 2.85% of the GDP, gross domestic product, for education. And for research, we had invested only 1.86%. 1.86. So this was our situation, with less than 3% in education generally, which includes higher education, school education, scientific education, etc. And for research, less than 2%. But please remember, even with this little money, we were able to achieve significant heights. I am very proud to say that India is one among the 5 top nations in the following categories. Number 1, space research. Number 2, nuclear technology. Number 3, information technology. Number 4, biotechnology. Number 5, pharmaceuticals. Take all these 5 factors: space research, nuclear research, information technology, biotechnology, and pharmaceuticals. We will be one among the top 5 nations of the world. We have around 194 countries as per the membership of the United Nations. So with this little money, if we can achieve this much, consider that money will not be a problem for future. And the national education policy under Dr. Kasturi Rangan had recommended for 6% of the GDP share for education. Double, more than double of the present allotment. And for research, 3%, for which a new account has been set up called National Research Fund, NRF, which will look after high-end research, innovation, and other kinds of advanced knowledge. So if with little money we can achieve this much, and if we can attract more investment and more funding, plus the possibility that the national education policy permit internationalization of higher education by accepting few universities from abroad, and also we are going to set up few universities of India abroad, so both towards India and across India to other countries. If you are going to achieve that much, higher education is going to be very competitive, and it will also carry a lot of inputs for ensuring maximum public participation in education. Earlier education policy we had, the first education policy was given by Dr. Kothari. You have heard about Kothari Commission. He was the one among the foremost people to say that teaching is one of the noblest professions of the world, but poorest of all trades. This he told in 1968, but today, at least for the recognized colleges, I am not mentioning about self-financing institution, but by and large, aided colleges, aided schools, and aided and government colleges and universities, even private universities, teachers are reasonably well paid. I can guarantee about that because I started my career in 1975, and when I retired 2 years ago, I know about the salary which I drew as Vice Chancellor. So teaching salary wise is not a big problem, but of course unaided sector, Kothari said, is right. I have traveled in different parts of India for NEP inspection and visits, and therefore I know in certain unaided and self-financing sector, teachers are paid very low. That is a sad thing. So salary wise, you have to ensure that reasonable national pay has to be protected. This is foremost important to attract very good teachers to this profession. So the first policy was in 1968. The second policy was in 1986, NEP 1986, during Rajiv Gandhi's government. During Narasimha Rao's government, this National Education Policy 1986 was modified to some extent. So we can say we had only two policies, 1968 and 1986. And today, under 2020, we have the third policy, long-awaited policy. After 34 years, we have the new National Education Policy, drafted by an eminent scientist, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, and participated by brilliant academicians and educationists. And they did not draft the policy according to their instinct. They sent questionnaires across the country to all the stakeholders, to teachers, to vice chancellors, to business sections, to industry, to ordinary people, to the civil society, and collected all those data, reviewed them, and finally drafted the National Education Policy. So it did not come from few elite people, but rather the public opinion was sought and feedback was collected in such a way that ultimately the National Education Policy is in place now. Although almost 2 years have passed since the National Education Policy has been approved, we have not made significant breakthroughs during the last 2 years. Our own state, Kerala, had not done much in implementing the National Education Policy. Rather, they recently appointed a committee to submit a report under an eminent educationist called Dr. Madhav Menon, and that report was approved by the cabinet, and we are now waiting for its implementation. Karnataka started implementing National Education Policy. Kerala may implement next year, as Government of Kerala said. And now with this background, when I said that there are numerous challenges like poor employability today, fragmented ecosystem, poor learning outcomes, rigid separation among the disciplines without any interdisciplinarity, and the problems related to the higher education system which needs overhauling. So I just glanced through some of the significant challenges we face. It can be expanded further, which I will be doing now after some time. But I close my second section here and now plunge into the most important aspect called the National Education Policy 2020. I wanted to say that there is a Malayali in the committee called Dr. Ramachandran. Of course, he spent most of his time in Delhi and abroad, but he is a Malayali in every sense. But he also has been one of the strong advocates of this national education policy. And if somebody asks you what is national education policy, in one sentence you can say it's a lifelong education policy. Lifelong education policy. The national education policy is flexible. It is not rigid as in the past. It clearly divides between school education and higher education. It also classifies between open education and adult education. Now let me start with school education briefly, and then come to the college education and technological education, etc. The new school education policy highlights that it should not be 10 plus 2 plus 3 system, which was our 1986 policy. Instead, we have a new policy called 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 12 years of education for school. It starts at the age of 4. Kindergarten from 4. And 5 years together by the time the student completes second standard. So in the kindergarten, the student completes 3 years. Fourth year, at the age of 4, at the age of 5, and the age of 6. 7 and 8, he will complete standard 1 and 2. This is called the foundation stage. 5 years, foundation stage. The next 3 years will be preparatory stage. Preparatory stage. So standard third, fourth, and fifth, preparatory stage, which means he will be studying at the age of 9, 10, and 11, preparatory stage. The next 3 years will be middle stage, next 3 years. So 12, 13, 14 years, he will be completing the middle stage. And the last 4 years will be high school, which means 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th standard. 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th standard. So by the age of 18, he will be completing plus 2, our present plus 2, at the age of 18. One striking difference is that for the higher school, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, there will be examination as per the semester system. So semester system will come to the high school, not only to the college, to the high school. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Semester system. And moreover, even at the school level, The emphasis will be, according to the national education policy, on three things. One, literacy, where writing and oral expressions are important. Literacy. Number two, numeracy, mathematics, numeracy. So he should have basic understanding of calculations. So literacy, numeracy. And the third thing will be skill. Skill education must start from school level. I think for the younger generation, it won't be a problem, because those students who are sitting here, I'm sure many of them will be holding a cell phone. And you are very much adaptive to the cell phone system. This is one example I'm giving. The point is that if students and children are given some skill, even at the school level, he'll be able to advance that skill when he joins for the college level education. So three things I repeat: literacy, numeracy, and skill education. These are the highlights of school education, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. So very soon our school education will abandon 10 plus 2 plus 3 and rather shift to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now coming to the college level, I'm coming to the national education policy college level. Two striking features of national education policy at the college level are that it is flexible and interdisciplinary in nature. It is flexible and interdisciplinary in nature. Interdisciplinary in nature means you will not be studying only one discipline, but you will be studying a set of disciplines with some focus on one. But you will be almost studying simultaneously other branches also. So instead of going to narrow specialization, interdisciplinarity has become the key word. And what is flexibility? I think students should attend to this point very carefully. Your graduation, undergraduation will be for 4 years. There will be a 3-year graduation system also. There will be a 3-year graduation system, but those who take up 3-year graduation, undergraduation system will not be eligible to join for post-graduation. But those who take a 4-year graduation system need to do only 1 year under post-graduation. So you have two systems of graduation, undergraduation, 3-year and 4-year. And what is 3-year? First year, if you want to stop after first year, you will get a certificate. Suppose you get a job, you go, but you will get a certificate. And the credits you have earned will be deposited in the college. At some stage, you can come back and continue your education. So like in a bank, it will be credited. It's called academic credit. Second, diploma. You'll get a diploma if you complete successfully undergraduation. And third, if you successfully complete your 3rd year, you'll get a degree, but you will not be eligible for post-graduation. But flexibility means you are free to stop your education either after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years and go for some other jobs and keep your credits, whether you hold a certificate, you hold a diploma, or you hold a degree. But those who do 4th year will naturally be eligible to do post-graduation. But that post-graduation will be only for 1 year. So like in the West, if you achieve credit successfully, you can complete your education as fast as you can. Instead of spending 2 years for post-graduation, you need to spend only 1 year. So this is another specialty. Now let me come to other features of national education policy. The NEP says that our curriculum development has to be given prime importance because the world is changing so fast and curriculum design should be updated frequently, for which representation should be there not only among teachers but also among the civil society, among the industry, among the business sections, etc. So that they can also highlight what is lacking in your syllabus. So syllabus can be changed every year, no problem. Business groups and industries will contribute in the syllabus committee. This is called curriculum design. So that freedom is called graded autonomy. The college and the university will be given freedom for the concerned department to revise their syllabus and flexibility in the syllabus so that the most modern developments can be brought in. NEP says that STEM is important, no doubt. So what is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and medicine. Science, technology, engineering, and medicine. But even here, we are not achieved anything. For example, you are students of engineering. Just think how much you are affiliated to industries. Your affiliation with industry is very minimal. Again, coming to medicine. In India, we have only 606 medical colleges. Highly inadequate. For a population of 140 crores of people, the number of medical colleges are highly insufficient. So science, technology, engineering, and medicine are important. Along with that, we need to develop humanities and social sciences. All new emerging areas are important. See, even without much background in computer science, India was able to become an IT power. But remember, today, with new revolutions in computer science, like big data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, new and emerging areas are catching up in computer science also. So we need to bring in that kind of new courses in science and technology, and in other branches also, like social sciences and humanities. The thrust is not only on theory, but also on practical aspects. So this is a highlight of national education policy. One of the drawbacks of Indian education system was that we over-theorized. We are good in theory building, but very poor in application. But suppose we shift our syllabus in such a way that we take up application side also, not only in science and technology, even in social sciences, the applicability becomes very important. Problem solving becomes very important. That's the way you should change and upgrade your syllabus. So the syllabus is made in such a way that the teacher himself graduates from a minimal teacher to an accomplished teacher, to a reputed teacher. So you cannot go with an old syllabus. You have to revise and you have to accomplish, and finally you have to become a very mature teacher. So catch up with the times and improvise your syllabus and technology so that our students will be employable. And they have to get affiliated with industries. So engineering, for example, science, for example, you must get affiliated with industry. Whether the industry is small or big is not a problem. What is more important? Number one, your affiliation with industry and local society. Number two, your ability to transform your skill into an entrepreneurship value. Instead of mugging up knowledge, you should develop in such a way that your entrepreneurship, your business line, and your ability to run an industry, either be part of an industry or you yourself start up an industry, that skill must come with you. Otherwise, self-employment or getting employment will be very, very difficult. Our students who goes abroad, first thing they do is to take up a certificate course in America or Canada or UK or New Zealand or Australia, wherever they are. With that certificate and with their background in Indian degree, they get a very good job. But I'm telling that if you develop the skill in such a way that practical knowledge also is made a part of your syllabus, then you will be able to take up jobs, accept jobs, or to begin a job on your own. You can yourself be an employer. So this kind of entrepreneurship along with skill and knowledge becomes very important, and that's the major highlight of this National Education Policy 2020. Now regarding regulation means you have mentioned about AICT, etc. The new regulatory bodies will be different from that of the past. I must say that even the AICT will be disbanded. Only 2 regulatory bodies of the past will be existing in future as per the recommendation. One, National Medical Commission. Earlier it was called Indian Medical Association, Indian Medical Council. Now you have National Medical Commission. That will continue. And then Bar Association of India. These 2 will remain. But otherwise, the existing AICT, etc. will be attached to some other organization or those organizations which are important, particularly of the higher education setup. I'm going to mention those important bodies. If you want to note down, you can look at those bodies. Number 1, there will be Higher Education Council of India, HECI, Higher Education Council of India. This will be the umbrella body. This is followed by National Higher Education and Research Council, NHERC, National Higher Education and Research Council. I repeat, Higher Education Council of India, HECI, National Higher Education and Research Council, number 2. Number 3, Higher Education Grants Council. Instead of the UGC, it will be called Higher Education Grants Council, HEGC, which will look after the grants completely. Today, UGC looks after many things, but instead of that, HEGC will look after the grants. All grants will be routed through Higher Education Grants Council. And number 4, the NAC will continue, but it will be rechristened as National Accreditation Council. Today it is called National Assessment and Accreditation Council. It will be rechristened as National Accreditation Council, NEC. And finally, there will be a larger senate or larger body called General Education Council, GEC, General Education Council. So these are the 5 pillars of regulatory mechanism under the National Education Policy. I repeat, Higher Education Council of India, number 1, National Higher Education and Research Council, number 2, Higher Education Grants Council, number 3, National Accreditation Council, number 4, and finally Higher Education Council, number 5, HEC. So this is how regulatory bodies are concerned. So the rigidity of the education system will move towards flexibility. There will be more autonomy, and students can take up education whenever they want. Adult education system is also permitted. Open education or distance education system will also be developed. So naturally, there will be more open universities, more distance learning centers. In the next 13 years, I am telling you, before 2035, our gross enrollment ratio in higher education must cross 50% from the present 26.5%. And for school education, it should touch 100% from from the present 52%. So our goals and targets are very high. And the National Education Policy says teachers must be trained frequently. As teachers sitting here, I am telling you, you have to continuously train. Not only your PhDs will be sufficient. You have to update yourself. You have to go for faculty capacity building program and other training program in such a way that you update yourself and that motivate you to improve your syllabus and curriculum very, very fastly. Usually 3 things are important for the success of an education. Now I have more or less completed National Education Policy. I am entering into the final area, 4th area. 3 things are particularly important for the success of higher education. Number 1, finance. Number 2, good governance or administration. Number 3, educational outcome. I repeat, good governance, finance, and educational outcome. As I mentioned, finance will not be a problem for future. What is important is governability and good governance, and more importantly, educational outcome. For example, the students of your college, after completing their graduation, are they fit for industry? What is the educational outcome that they have achieved? This is a fundamental point that I think will carry a lot in future as well. The National Education Policy also encourages internationalization of education. Under the internationalization of education, we are going to welcome foreign universities to India. Very soon, we will open up our gates for foreign universities to India. And similarly, some of the best universities in India can open up branches outside India. Some of the private universities, some of the best universities can open some of their branches, overseas branches. They can open up in America or Canada or New Zealand or Australia. So if Indian universities goes abroad, international universities come to India. It's a two-way traffic, not a one-way traffic. So this is a revolutionary transformation we are expecting. And what we wanted to achieve is that more and more participation and ensure that we attract international students. Even when our students are exposed to international education, in future our students may not have to go to America for education if American universities come to India. And similarly, we wanted to attract international students to India. Today I said hardly 5% of the total student population, hardly 5% are outside from India, are non-Indians. That is highly insufficient, which explains that there is something problematic with our educational system. So if we want to attract the international students, we have to teach and provide our syllabus in such a way that the best courses are offered here and we can easily attract students from any part of the world. Today we get few students from Gulf, Central Asia, Afghanistan, etc. We get some students from Southeast Asia. We get few students from South Asia, considering countries like Pakistan or Nepal or Afghanistan or Bangladesh or Indonesia. No, these are insufficient. We wanted to attract best students from abroad, from other parts of the world, from Europe and United States, Australia, Canada, etc. So let them come and take education, because in the past, thousands of years ago, India was considered as a Vishwa Guru when we had traditionally the best universities of those days. Many years before the birth of the Christ, we had been considered as Vishwa Guru. You have heard about ancient universities like Vikramshila, Takshashila, Nalanda. So we had a lot of institutions. It is said that there is a university even in southern side, in Trivandrum. It is called Kandallur Shaga. So traditions say that India had a traditional educational past, and our rishis and saints were the masters of those days, and students used to come and stay in the premises or along with the Gurukula system. But today we have established universities. We can attract students, we can have students and foreign students hostel, so that in such a way they can cook their own food if they wish. But ultimately it is better that they mix up. So we need to go a long way in internationalization. And again, our laboratories and libraries are to improve. While I served as Vice Chancellor, I recruited many teachers, and during the interviews I could find excellent Indian teachers coming from abroad. They are doing postdoctoral courses in America or foreign countries. So I asked them, why did they go to such countries for their postdoctoral programs? The answer was that, number one, we don't have sufficient laboratories and scientific ecosystem in our country. Number two, the fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship is very attractive, $2,000 to $2,500. It's a very huge amount. They can easily survive, and even with a family. And the third thing is that they can do excellent research and publish papers. So from my practical experience as Vice Chancellor, my conclusion is that our laboratories are highly ill-equipped. We don't have excellent laboratories. We do not have sufficient laboratories. So when we are going for a knowledge revolution, when we are trying to achieve knowledge economy and a knowledge society, it has to be backed by laboratories and libraries. So libraries we have to establish, laboratories we have to establish, high-end laboratories we have to establish. For engineering colleges, you need better workshops, better workbenches, better laboratories with latest equipments. And you know very well that India could not achieve industrial revolution. Now this is a time to achieve that. Already the world has crossed many industrial revolutions. He said that we are in the fourth stage of industrial revolution. So as technology advanced, now we have soft technology. So catch up with the times and develop technology in such a way, and the moment that we attach with industry, we develop a proper laboratories and libraries and a proper connection with the industrial sector. Our educational curriculum will be updated, most globally attractive, so that our students, unlike in the past, they are trained in such a way they can work anywhere in the world. Earlier, our ambition was that we will study in India only, or we'll study in Kerala only. No, we can study anywhere. And after getting successful education, they can work anywhere in the world. And I wanted to say a little bit about medium of instruction also. At the school level, up to 5th standard, medium of instruction will be in mother tongue. After 5th standard, they can shift to local language or to national language. So higher education invariably will be in any of the national languages. So we have 22 languages recognized by the Constitution, besides English and Hindi. So we are such a large country with linguistic diversity. So these 22 languages plus English and Hindi has to be promoted, and therefore English and Hindi will still have more advantage, because with English you will have international reach. With Hindi you will have national reach. And of course other languages are also promoted. So school education in mother tongue only up to 5th standard. They can continue with the local language up to 7th standard. But beyond that, you have to depend upon state language or national language in such a way that language will not be a bar for your growth. And higher education will obviously be English or Hindi, and definitely state languages are also promoted in this direction. So instead of launching into a controversy, the national education policy adapted to the linguistic diversity of India. At the same time, reminding all of us that this is a globalized age, and in the age of globalization, we need to catch up with the global trends. And internationalization of education has come up, and we have to follow with that trend. So educational outcome is important. Practical outcome is very important. how are you going to achieve your goals, how capable you are in problem solving, how updated your syllabus are. All these things are important, and teachers have significant responsibility. They have to continue writing papers, publish papers, they have to attend seminars, they have to participate in conferences, they have to get trained in workshops and other intellectual conclaves, and teachers have to be always motivated and updated, so that in turn the teachers will come and motivate the students. So this is a cyclical process, and I would say that this is a lifelong process, and national education policy encourages for adult education and scientific education. I mentioned briefly about the National Research Fund. I mentioned that 3% of the GDP share will be set apart for NRF, National Research Fund. The aim is to achieve innovation and high end in research. So if you want to achieve better research output and improve our innovation skill and spirit, more money is required. And therefore, NRF is set up. A funding is set up called National Research Funding. So any teacher can seek fund from NRF. You have to give a proposal up to that quality, and they may give you direct grants to the teachers concerned. It is based upon your quality of your paper and the quality of the proposal you make, and ultimately you will be able to achieve greater publications, both in content and quality and number, and ultimately our teachers will be very, very sharp, and they'll be capable to address the future challenges. So more than the vice chancellors or more than the student, the more important crucial segment is going to be the teacher. If the teacher fails, education fails. So this is a message I wanted to give you in the Teachers' Day, that we have a responsibility in nation building. We transform our students. We ensure the better quality of our students. So if you want to achieve that quality, teachers have to polish himself, sharpen yourself, and update yourself, and so that the students come out of this, what is called educational outcome, will be the best for them, so that they'll be able to compete in the world. So gone are the days when you can teach outdated things and old syllabus. You have to catch up with the trends of the global developments, and today you can easily get down all these details, because information communication technology is worldwide, and anybody can download any kind of information from the website also. But beyond that, research skills are important, and the teachers must catch up with such trends in such a way that you are able to ensure high quality research, better educational outcome, and the administrators like vice chancellors and principals are to encourage teachers and ensure that a better educational ecosystem prevails in the college and the universities. Unfortunately, this is not there. Having served in the academia for 4.5 decades, I have seen the Indian educational landscape. I know how pity it is. I have traveled across length and breadth of the country. I have seen the colleges, I have seen the universities, I have seen the best colleges, I have seen the worst colleges. I have seen the best universities in the world. I have seen the best universities in India, but I have seen the worst universities and the worst colleges in the world with poor resources and poor faculty. This has to change, and national education policy is a great opportunity. Also, it is a great challenge. You catch up with the challenge in such a way that you can build a new nation where our output will be the role model for the whole world. I sum up here and open up for discussion. As I mentioned, I covered with a brief introduction at the beginning, followed by the present situation of India, and then plunged into the national education policy and its broad features. And then I wanted to show you how we wanted to transform India and the road ahead, how challenging and how exciting it is. So as teachers, the road ahead is very attractive, and you are going to build a new nation, build a new country with excellent infrastructure and excellent knowledge sources, because Indian genes are really good. As we had seen, with little money we achieved so much in the last 75 years. Now with double the money, I'm sure with our genes, better genes and smart skills, India can emerge as one of the soft powers of the world, great soft powers of the world. With this, I conclude and open up for discussion. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You can ask questions in Malayalam also. Students may be very comfortable. You can ask questions in Malayalam also. Either. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Somebody wanted to ask a question. I think somebody raised a hand. No? Yeah. Yeah, please. Yeah. 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 Understood. A very relevant point. I had briefly mentioned that India focused earlier on theoretical research or pure research. This has been so uh, in science, technology, and social sciences too. One major problem we have to confront is that with our strength in pure sciences, our students have very limited scope in application. That is one fundamental reason why many of our students remain unemployed. They are not made fit, and many of them take up small jobs, compelled to take up small jobs, something very different from what they have studied. This is mainly because the practicals were very limited in nature and they did not have much opportunity at the practical or at the operational side. So what the new policy suggests is that it's not a question of whether somebody is having an upper hand or not. We have to move with the changing times, and given the fast and rapid pace in which developments are taking place, industries are also changing their products. They don't have a monopoly. They have to change, and every industry has developed what is called R&D, research and development. So they have already some brain and skill with them, but it is insufficient. They wanted to have more. Of course, they may be interested in maximizing their profit and improving their industry. But it is going to be a double win. It's a win-win game situation because our students will also get an opportunity to apply their knowledge, and the industry people will point to the teacher or to the academia that these are some of the developments that are happening at the global level or at the field level, which you and me as teachers did not have the opportunity because we are in the classroom. We are in the library, we are in the laboratory, we are not doing our work in the field. And they are the persons who are doing work in the field. So they know the market, they know the industry, they know the society better than us. So their inputs are going to be of crucial learning for us also. So take the inputs from them and ensure whether such learning will help the students to get better employment after their education. If so, I think we must adapt to the changing trends. Otherwise, what will happen is we will continue to work with outdated syllabus. And with this outdated syllabus and limited exposure, teachers will not be able to work satisfactorily. What I would suggest here is that teachers also must be given an opportunity for practical training. They can get adapted or what is called like the students internship. Teachers should also be attached to some industry, and with that practical experience, they'll be able to come back and help with the syllabus course structure better. So internship is already recommended in the national education policy. Students will get practical experience. Now, for example, MBA students, what will they learn? During the summer vacation, they will be attached to some industry. And the industry will be benefited by that student, but the student is also benefited by the industry. So it's a win-win situation. And like that, if the teachers are also given an opportunity to serve briefly with the industry. And similarly, now there is a new trend catching up. I don't know whether you have noticed. Very soon, we are going to hire practical professors in the sense that industrialists will also join academia, not as regular teachers, but as teachers for short time, say 3 years or 5 years. They will come and explain the practical side much effectively. And this intermingling and interaction between theoretical teachers and practical industry will go a long way in the outcome of education. That technological upliftment will change our ways and our outlook and our thinking as well. I'm a social scientist. Even then, I must say that my exposure with the international universities, my exposure to the educational system has changed my approach and my perspective also. Recently, I was with the Manipal University, where I was inaugurating a new batch of European Studies department. When I asked the faculty, incidentally, the entire faculty consisted of ladies only. 7 faculty members, all of them ladies only. The first 2 semesters of post-graduation program will be in the Manipal University. The next 2 semesters will be outside in any European country where they have an attachment. So naturally, the students go there, and teachers also go there on fellowships. So this is what I recommend. You should also get such exposure from the industry, either by taking duty leave or by getting sabbatical. Your exposure will be more important, and with their practical knowledge, you will be helping the teachers and also improving the outcome with the help of the industry, so that the board of studies will not consist only of teachers. It will consist of people from NGOs, from industry, from business, and the like. That is the way in which our educational outcome should come, and we should catch up with that time, so that in such a way that it will benefit all of us, teachers, students, and the new generation of the people. So anyway, no product is final. As you know very well, for simple example, we had a life before cell phone, and within cell phone, how many changes we had gone. Now it is 5G. How many generations had gone? First generation, second generation, third, fourth. Now it is going to the 5th generation. So knowledge and science and technology are fast spreading. It is not limited. There is no monopoly and there is no status quo. It will change very, very rapid phase. And it is exactly here our practical application becomes very important. And teachers also must be sent to such kind of field work or with the attachment with the industry on. This is something which will help them to advance their faculty and their capacity. So capacity building advances with your practical experience in industry. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you read that. Yeah. 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 It's going to come. Going to come. Yeah. Anticipate, yeah. Mr. AB is going to ask you a question, I think so. Are you, Mr. AB? ABJ? Yeah, I think he switched off the phone. He switched off the mic. Audio. Ask, advise him to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, now
Sir,
you are on.
ABC Jacob, Mechanical Engineering Superintendent work ചെയ്യുന്നു ലൂർദ്വാദ കോളേജ് ഓഫ് സയൻസ് ആൻഡ് ടെക്നോളജിയിൽ. സാർ, എൻ്റെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഈ ഡെവലപ്ഡ് കൺട്രീസിലായിട്ടുള്ള USA അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാനഡ എന്നുള്ള ഇതിലോട്ട് നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ പേര് മൈഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അഡ്വാൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിസർച്ചിനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫർദർ സ്റ്റഡീസിനോ പോകുന്നു. അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഉക്രൈൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫിലിപ്പൈൻസ് പോയിട്ടുള്ള കൺട്രീസിലോട്ട് MBBS പോകുന്നു. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് കേരളം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഹബ്ബായിട്ട് മാറാനായിട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് അതിനുള്ള റിസോഴ്സസ് ഉണ്ട്, ബാക്കിയുള്ള എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും ഉണ്ട്, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു ഇതിലോട്ട് കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാതെ ഉള്ള ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്?
നിശ്ചയമായിട്ടും ഇത് തന്നെയാണ് നാഷണൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ പോളിസിയിൽ ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്നതും ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നതും. ആയിരക്കണക്കിന് വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് വിദേശത്ത് നിന്ന് അന്നത്തെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ നമ്മളെ ഗുരുകുല സമ്പ്രദായത്തിൽ വന്ന് പഠിച്ചിട്ട് പോയെങ്കിൽ പിൽക്കാലത്ത് കോളനി വാഴ്ചയോ അതിന് മുമ്പുള്ള കാലഘട്ടമോ അതിന് ശേഷമുള്ള കാലഘട്ടത്തിലോ നമ്മുടെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സമ്പ്രദായം തകർന്നു പോവുകയും ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വ്യക്തമായൊരു കാഴ്ചപ്പാടുണ്ട്, നമ്മളെ ആൾക്കാർക്ക് കഴിവുണ്ട്, പ്രായോഗിക പരിജ്ഞാനം കൂടുതൽ വേണമെന്നുള്ള കുറവും സാമ്പത്തികമായിട്ട് സംഭാവനകളില്ല എന്നുള്ള പരിമിതിയും നമ്മളിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം അത് രണ്ടും മാറ്റാനുള്ള നടപടികളാണ് എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. പ്രായോഗിക പരിജ്ഞാനം കിട്ടാനാണ് വ്യവസായ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളുമായിട്ടും ബിസിനസ്സുമായിട്ടും നമ്മൾ കൂടുതൽ അഫിലിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. അതോടൊപ്പം നമ്മുടെ സിലബസ് ഗ്ലോബൽ ആയാൽ, അന്തർദേശീയ സിലബസ് ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ തയ്യാറെടുത്താൽ, അതെടുക്കണം എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ഒരു ഉദാഹരണം പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. ഒരു 30 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് വിദേശത്ത് പോയപ്പോൾ പാരീസിൽ വെച്ച്, അപ്പോൾ അവിടുത്തെ ഈ സാധാരണ ലൈറ്റും സ്വിച്ചും ഇടുന്ന രീതിയിലും പൈപ്പ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലും ഒക്കെ ഉള്ള വ്യത്യാസം അന്ന് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ വരാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് ആദ്യം ഒരു സഭാകമ്പം ഉണ്ടായി. ഞാൻ ഉദാഹരണം പറഞ്ഞാണ്. ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയല്ല. ഇപ്പോൾ വെളിയിലുള്ള ഇലക്ട്രിക്കൽ ചേഞ്ചസും അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ സാനിറ്ററി ഫിറ്റിങ്സും എല്ലാം ഗ്ലോബലായിട്ട് മാറിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഞാൻ 30 വർഷം മുമ്പുള്ള കാര്യം, 90-ലെ കാര്യം, 1990-ലെ കാര്യം, 32 വർഷം മുമ്പുള്ള കാര്യമാണ് പറയുന്നത്. അത്തരം എക്സ്പോഷർ അന്നില്ലായിരുന്നത് ന്യായമാണ്, ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ സാഹചര്യമായതായിരിക്കാം. പക്ഷെ ഇന്ന് അങ്ങനെയല്ല. നമ്മൾ ലോകത്തോടൊപ്പം കുതിക്കാൻ നമ്മൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. നമുക്കതിനുള്ള ബുദ്ധിശക്തി കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ പലപ്പോഴും തെളിയിച്ചു. IT തന്നെ നല്ലൊരു ഉദാഹരണമാണ്, ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ടെക്നോളജി. ഇന്ന് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് കഴിയുന്നില്ല എന്ന് പറയാൻ കാരണം അത് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ ചർച്ചയുടെ പ്രാധാന്യവും. പുതിയ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയത്തിൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഔട്ട്കം വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ സിലബസ് ഉൾപ്പെടെ അന്താരാഷ്ട്രീയ സമ്പ്രദായത്തിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ മാറേണ്ട സാഹചര്യം വന്നിരിക്കുന്നു. അതിനനുസരിച്ചുള്ള ലൈബ്രറികളും ലാബറട്ടറികളും വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പുകളും വേണം. അധ്യാപകരെ പരിശീലിപ്പിച്ചു കൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. കൂടുതൽ ഫണ്ടിങ് ആവശ്യമാണ്. കോളേജിലും യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളിലും എല്ലാം കുട്ടികൾക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ പങ്കാളികളാകാൻ കഴിയണം. നല്ലൊരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ എക്കോസിസ്റ്റം നിങ്ങളുടെ ക്യാമ്പസിലുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കുട്ടികളുടെ കൾച്ചർ തന്നെ മാറും. അവരാ സിസ്റ്റത്തോട് അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്ത് അതിൽ തന്നെ നന്നായിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ ശ്രമിക്കും. നല്ല ലൈബ്രറിയും നല്ല വർക്ക് സ്റ്റേഷനും നല്ല ലാബറട്ടറിയും ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി അവരുടെ വർക്ക് കൾച്ചർ മാറും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതിനുള്ള സാമ്പത്തികം ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിലുണ്ട്. കൂടുതൽ നമ്മൾ അതിനെ ഷേപ്പ് ചെയ്യണം. ഞാനത് ചൂണ്ടിക്കാണിച്ചു. GST മുഖാന്തരം നമുക്കിപ്പോൾ നല്ല സാമ്പത്തിക വളർച്ചയ്ക്ക് സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. കരകവിഞ്ഞൊഴിയുകയാണ്. ഇതുവരെ നമ്മൾ ടാപ്പ് ചെയ്യാത്ത ടാക്സ് സോഴ്സസിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ പണം വന്നു തുടങ്ങി. ഇനി കൂടുതൽ വരുമാനം ഗവൺമെന്റിനും സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭിക്കും. അങ്ങനെ ലഭിക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിൽ നല്ലൊരു പങ്ക് വിദ്യാഭ്യാസത്തിനും ആരോഗ്യത്തിനും അടിസ്ഥാന വികസനത്തിനുമായി മാറ്റിവെക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുമെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ പ്രതീക്ഷ. അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ താങ്കൾ ചോദിച്ച ചോദ്യത്തിനുള്ള ഉത്തരം അവിടെ വരും. വർക്ക് കൾച്ചർ മാറും, എക്കോസിസ്റ്റം മാറും, അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേഷൻ മാറും, സിലബസ് മാറും, ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് മാറും, കുട്ടികൾ മാറും. ഇതൊന്നും ഇല്ലാതിരിക്കുമ്പോഴാണ് ബാക്കി കാര്യങ്ങളിലേക്ക് കുട്ടികൾക്കും അധ്യാപകർക്കും താല്പര്യമുണ്ടാകുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിലും മറ്റ് സംഘടനാ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലും ഒക്കെ വ്യാപൃതരാകുന്ന അധ്യാപകർ ഒരു പരിധിവരെ അവർക്ക് വലിയ ജോലിയൊന്നും ഇല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ടുകൂടെ ആയിരിക്കാം. നല്ല ക്ലാസ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ജോലി കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്നുള്ളൊരു തോന്നൽ കൊണ്ടായിരിക്കാം. അവിടെ കൊണ്ട് അവസാനിക്കുന്നില്ല. ക്ലാസ് മുറി കൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ ജോലി അവസാനിക്കുന്നില്ല. നമ്മുടെ ഉത്തരവാദിത്വം തുടർന്നുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ടീച്ചർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലാ സമയവും വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കപ്പെടുന്നതാണ്. ക്ലാസ് മുറി അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു വേദിയാകുന്നുള്ളൂ. കണ്ടിന്യൂസ്ലി നമ്മൾ പോളിഷ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. ആ ഒരു ബോധ്യം വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ആവശ്യകത വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഈ താങ്കൾ പറഞ്ഞ ഈ വിഷമം നമുക്ക് മാറിക്കിട്ടും. അതിലേക്ക് തന്നെയാണ് പുതിയ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയം ലക്ഷ്യമിടുന്നത്. അതാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. 6% GDP വിദ്യാഭ്യാസത്തിന് മാറ്റിവെക്കുന്നു, 3% റിസർച്ചിനും ഇന്നൊവേഷനും മാറ്റിവെക്കുന്നു. നിലവിലുള്ളതിൻ്റെ ഇരട്ടിയാണ് സാമ്പത്തികം ഇതിനു വേണ്ടി മാറ്റിവെക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ കൂടുതൽ സർവകലാശാലകളും കോളേജുകളും സാങ്കേതിക സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളും വരണം. കൂടുതൽ വ്യവസായ സൗഹൃദ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെടണം. അത്തരം വ്യവസായ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളുമായി നമ്മൾ കൂടുതൽ അടുക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ സിലബസിലും ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കായിട്ട് ചേഞ്ച് വരും. ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഗവേഷണവും ഇന്നൊവേഷനും നന്നായി വരും. അങ്ങനെ നൂതന സംരംഭങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേറ്റീവ് സിസ്റ്റവും ഗവേണൻസും മാറി വരും. അതിലേക്ക് തന്നെയാണ് പുതിയ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയം ലക്ഷ്യമിടുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ ഈ അടുത്ത 12-13 വർഷം നമ്മൾ വിജയിച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് പിന്നെ ഒന്നിനെ കുറിച്ച് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടേണ്ടി വരില്ല. 2047 ആകുമ്പോൾ 100 വർഷം തികയുന്ന രാജ്യത്തിന് ലോകത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു സോഫ്റ്റ് സൂപ്പർ പവറായി മാറാൻ കഴിയും. അതിനുവേണ്ടിയുള്ള തയ്യാറെടുപ്പ് കൂടിയാണിത്. സോഫ്റ്റ് പവർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഹാർഡ് പവർ അല്ല, ഒരു സാംസ്കാരിക ശക്തിയും കോസ്മോപൊളിറ്റൻ പവറായി മാറി ലോകത്തിനും തന്നെ റോൾ മോഡൽ നേഷനായി മാറുകയാണ് വേണ്ടത്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഉള്ള പട്ടിണി ഒക്കെ മാറും, എക്കോണമി ഇമ്പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യും, കൂടുതൽ തൊഴിലവസരം ഉണ്ടാകും. അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ അസമത്വങ്ങൾ മാറിക്കിട്ടും. ഇത് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ പുതിയ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയത്തിൽ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ല എന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ. വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയ ലക്ഷ്യമിടുന്നത് ഇൻക്ലൂസീവ്നെസ് തന്നെയാണ്, ട്രാൻസ്പെറൻസിയാണ്, അക്കൗണ്ടബിലിറ്റിയാണ്, ബെറ്റർ ആക്സസ് ആണ്, ബെറ്റർ ഇക്വിറ്റിയാണ്. അതിനുവേണ്ടി കൂടുതൽ സ്കോളർഷിപ്പും ഫെലോഷിപ്പും വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കുക, കൂടുതൽ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളെ, അതാണ് GR ഗ്രോസ് എൻറോൾമെന്റ് റേഷ്യോ വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കണമെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. ഇതെല്ലാം ടോട്ടാലിറ്റിയിൽ തന്നെ വരണം. ഇതിന് നമുക്കൊരു 12-13 വർഷം നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിലുണ്ട്. ഈ വരുന്ന 12-13 വർഷം നമ്മൾ നന്നായി പ്രവർത്തിച്ചാൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ശുഭാപ്തി വിശ്വാസത്തോടെ നമുക്ക് മുന്നേറാൻ കഴിയുമെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ പ്രതീക്ഷ. താങ്ക് യു.
Okay, thank you, sir.
അതെ, പുതിയ തലമുറയിലെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾക്ക് അവർക്ക് ഒരുപാട് അവസരങ്ങൾ പഴയതിനേക്കാൾ ലഭിക്കുമെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ പ്രതീക്ഷ. ഇപ്പോൾ അവസരങ്ങൾ ലഭിക്കാത്തതിൻ്റെ കുഴപ്പം നമ്മുടേതായ അടിസ്ഥാന സൗകര്യങ്ങളുടെ അപര്യാപ്തതയും കൂടിയാണ്. അത് മാറിക്കിട്ടാനുള്ള പരിശ്രമങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. അതിനുവേണ്ടി നിരന്തരം പരിശ്രമിച്ചു കൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. കാരണം ഇന്ന് അന്തർദേശീയ വരമ്പുകൾക്ക്, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ടെറിട്ടോറിയൽ ഡിവിഷൻസ് ഇല്ലാതെ നോളജ് എല്ലാവർക്കും എത്താം. ആരുടെയും മൊണോപ്പൊളി അല്ല, ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു രാജ്യത്തിൻ്റെയോ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു മതത്തിൻ്റെയോ ഏതൊരു ജാതിയുടെയോ മൊണോപ്പൊളി അല്ല. നോളജ് യൂണിവേഴ്സലായി മാറുകയാണ്. അതനുസരിച്ച് ഓരോ രാജ്യവും അതിലെ ജനങ്ങളെ എക്വിപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ തയ്യാറെടുക്കുകയാണ്. അതിനുള്ള പരിശ്രമമാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. ഈ പുതിയ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയം നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ വേണ്ടത്ര ചർച്ച ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ടില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ട് പലപ്പോഴും, കേരളത്തിൽ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച്. അതെന്തുകൊണ്ട് ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലാകുന്നില്ല. അതിൽ അപാകതകളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചൂണ്ടിക്കാണിക്കാമെന്നല്ലാതെ ഈ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയത്തിനെ ഇംപ്രൂവൈസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള നടപടികൾ എടുക്കുക എന്നല്ലാതെ നമുക്കിപ്പോൾ എന്തായാലും വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയം നടപ്പിലാകപ്പെടും. കണ്ണടച്ചിരുട്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല, കണ്ടില്ല എന്ന് അടിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ നയം നാട്ടിൽ ഉണ്ടാകും എന്നുള്ളതിന് സംശയമില്ല. നമ്മുടെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ മറ്റ് സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിൽ പഠിക്കാൻ പോയത് തന്നെ അന്ന് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജുകൾ ഇല്ലായിരുന്നിട്ടാണ്. നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് നടത്തുകയല്ലേ. ഞങ്ങളുടെ പഴയ ഓർമ്മയ്ക്ക് കേരളത്തിൽ 5 എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നൊരു സമയമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പിന്നീടാണ് കുറേശ്ശെ പ്രൈവറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്ത് തുടങ്ങിയത്. ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ അനവധി എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജുകളായി, സീറ്റുകൾ പോലും അധികമുണ്ട്. ആ സീറ്റുകൾ അധികം വരാൻ കാരണം എന്താണ്? ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിക്ക് വേണ്ട രീതിയിലുള്ള കോഴ്സുകൾ വരാത്തത് കൊണ്ടും അവരെ എംപ്ലോയബിൾ അല്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ടാണ് കോഴ്സുകൾ അവിടെ കിടക്കുന്നത്. അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇവരെ അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്യാൻ വിഷമമൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. നല്ല സാങ്കേതിക വിദ്യ ലാബറട്ടറിയിലും ലൈബ്രറിയിലും ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഈ കുട്ടികൾ പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് രാജ്യത്ത് തന്നെ വ്യവസായ അന്തരീക്ഷത്തിൽ തൊഴിൽ ലഭിക്കുമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിങ്ങിന് വളരെ താല്പര്യം ഉണ്ടാകും. ഇപ്പോൾ വ്യവസായ വിപ്ലവം നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ വരാത്തതാണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വരാൻ വൈകിയതാണ് ഒരു പ്രധാന കാര്യം. പക്ഷെ ഇനി അത് സംഭവിക്കും. മറ്റു പല തലത്തിലാണ് വ്യവസായ വിപ്ലവം വരുന്നത്. മുമ്പ് നമുക്കറിയാം 18-19 നൂറ്റാണ്ടിൽ യൂറോപ്പിലുണ്ടായ വ്യവസായ വിപ്ലവം കൂടുതലും ഫാക്ടറീസിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു. ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ പുത്തൻ ഫാക്ടറികൾ, പുത്തൻ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയൽ കൾച്ചറാണ് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതനുസരിച്ചുള്ള റെവല്യൂഷൻ നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ പുതിയ തലമുറയെ പ്രാപ്തരാക്കുക. അവരതിൽ വിജയിക്കുന്നുള്ള കാര്യത്തിൽ സംശയമൊന്നുമില്ല. കാരണം നമ്മളത് ഒരുപാട് പ്രാവശ്യം തെളിയിച്ച കാര്യമാണ്. ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ സ്പോർട്സ് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള രംഗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യ ശോഭിക്കാൻ അവസരം കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണ്. അതനുസരിച്ച് പുതിയ തലമുറയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ട ആരോഗ്യവും അടിസ്ഥാന സൗകര്യങ്ങളും മറ്റ് സാഹചര്യങ്ങളും ഉണ്ടാക്കി കൊടുത്താൽ അതിൽ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിന് ഒരു നിർണായക പങ്കുണ്ടെന്നുള്ള ഉത്തരവാദിത്വം നമുക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവുകയും ചെയ്താൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമുക്ക് മുന്നേറാൻ കഴിയും. ഷുവർ. മറ്റൊക്കെ ചോദ്യം വല്ലതും വന്നോ നോക്കട്ടെ ഇതിനകത്ത്. ഇല്ല, ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ടില്ല. ഞാൻ ലിങ്ക് കയറി നോക്കിയത്, ലിങ്കിൽ ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊന്നും കാണുന്നില്ല. ഷുവർ. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും. താങ്ക് യു. താങ്ക് യു.